Where do I even begin? That's right, I'm wearing blue because we're having another boy. All the feelings, all the things, there is so much to say. So now you know, I have two sons. So exciting because Zion is the cutest thing in the world, and I just can't imagine having another little guy who is as cute as him. Just like running around with his tan skin and his pretty little brown eyes. Who knows what the new baby will look like. But he's just so darn sweet, and I can't imagine having the two of them together, and all of their sweetness together is gonna be so darn sweet. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be so great. Brothers are a very, very, very special thing. It's something my brother never got. Okay, so I was raised in a family of 4, 3 girls and a boy. This is why I'm so excited, but also so overwhelmed about being a boy mom, because our whole life was like girl stuff, girl activities, girl life, girl drama, girl like everything. And my brother never had a brother growing up, and now he has 3 brothers in love. Interestingly enough, both of my sisters married into families with all boys. Anyway, my whole life was just like a girl fest, right? Doing all these things with girls, and my brother did sports. Some of you know he plays in the minor leagues in baseball now, and you know, he did his boy thing. Boy life, as you can see by my ministry for women, is not something I'm like super familiar with. And so the prospect of like raising these 2 boys is so like, oh my gosh, just crazy to me. Was I surprised when he told me it was another boy? I was like, yes, I was so stunned. But at the same time, I'm a woman who gets asked, you know, 10, 12, I don't know, 40 times a week where all the great men are in the world. Okay, so I was like, it makes sense to me that I would have boys, right? Who knows if the Lord will give us more children, if I'll have all sons, you know, period. I think it's so cool that the Lord has given Daniel and I these 2 sons to raise, to be virtuous, holy, loving, good, kind people, kind men in the world today. I don't have a clue what it's like to be a boy growing up, and you know, boys in high school, like how you relate to them and things like that. So obviously I'm thinking very long term, but the beauty of it is that the Lord, you know, equips me and will equip Daniel to raise the best sons that we can. And that's the most exciting part, is that I don't have to depend on myself to raise these 2 boys, that I just depend on God and his wisdom and knowledge and all of those different kinds of things to lean into that as a mom, boy mom, raising these boys to be good men. As I reflected on it, raising these 2 boys together, I've just gone back to that question. And I think I mentioned it in my video on how I knew my husband was the one. Maybe it was that one. I don't remember which video it was. But talking about looking at the choice to marry Daniel and asking myself the question, would I want, if I do ever have children, if I ever have sons, would I want my sons to turn out to be like this man? And it's a very important question to ask yourself when you're dating a guy, when you're considering marrying him, to take a long, hard look. Do I want my sons to turn out like this man? Do I want this man to be the example for my sons of what a great man is, how he behaves, how he talks, how he treats people, the whole 9 yards? And I looked at Daniel and I said, yes, I want, if I ever do have sons, if that's something ever God ever gives me, I want my sons to be like this man. I would want that for them and for my life. That's why I'm so grateful, right? As I'm like, I don't know boy stuff. My husband does. And he, you know, knows what it's like to be a boy growing up and going through high school and all these different kinds of things. And that's the beauty of it, is that the knowledge and wisdom that my husband will bring, you know, to make up for all the things that I have no clue about in raising these boys is so special and so important. And that's why I just look at this. Oh my gosh, I get teary thinking about it. Just look at the way Daniel is with Zion. He's so generous and he's so loving and he's so kind. And I want Zion to be just like that, to be having another boy who will look at Daniel, oh my goodness, who will look at Daniel his whole life as an example of, you know, a man, the first man he'll ever know and interact with throughout his whole life. Like, it's very beautiful and exciting and reassuring that I made this choice for my husband, right? I talked about that in that video, that I chose to marry Daniel in the end. I didn't have to, and I chose to marry him for a lot of different reasons, and that being one of them. If I ever had sons, I would want them to turn out like this man. And so I have 2 sons now that I hope turn out like, oh my gosh, I'm like quarantine emotional, pregnancy emotional, all the things emotional, but that I hope turn out to be as generous, loving, thoughtful, sacrificial, and kind as my husband. I remain the only non-boy and non-European in my house because everybody in my house will be a European citizen. Shout out to you European citizens out there. And I just think of the days when Daniel will just take the boys down to surf, right? They'll take him down to the beach, and I'll get to put my feet up and watch a little show or something, and they'll do their boy things, and it'll be so fun and so sweet, and I just love that. Love just thinking about them being together. Obviously, Daniel is so thrilled, right? He was so thrilled when I told him it was another son. Obviously, we would have been excited either way, but he just thinks, oh my gosh, the adventures that we'll have. And I'm preparing myself for all the, calls about their injuries. After all, I married a man who called me the day before my sister's wedding to say, I think I just broke my leg surfing. And we had just gone to get our mani-pedis with the bride, and I was like, oh dear. And I expect many more calls like that throughout my life, but the Lord will be with me every step of the way, and I have so much peace and confidence in that, in raising these 2 boys together. They'll be about 2 years apart, so hopefully they just grow up to be best buds. Tomorrow I have my 20-week ultrasound, which is a really, really big deal. I'll be going to that alone, which is challenging, but praise the Lord for faith, because I know that God will be with me at that appointment throughout that whole time. They'll look at the baby, the organs, every limb. I mean, they take a full picture of the baby. I'm just trusting in the Lord to be with me at that appointment on Thursday, and that all will be well and healthy with this baby. So if you could say a little prayer for me, that would be great. That's all for today. Here's to filling the world with great men. I'm gonna do my best. Talk soon. Bye.